This episode of the ResortLoop.com podcast is brought to you by Joffrey's Coffee and Tea Company. Joffrey's is proud to be the official specialty coffee of Disney. Enjoy drinks and pastries at Joffrey's kiosks throughout the parks and check out the Disney Specialty Coffee Collection only at Joffreys.com.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
As you enter, please slide across the seat to allow room for those who may follow. And please be sure your hands and legs are away from open doors. Thank you.
Hey, everybody, thanks for joining us. This is ResortLoop.com, the gateway to the magic. And I'm Tim Scott.
I'm Bob Collar.
And this is episode 188.
188.
Yes.
This is a very exciting show, Tim.
It is.
Because our guest, we have a guest today.
Oh, I love it when we have a guest. And this is the big guy.
This is the big guy.
This is the original.
I think 188 is kind of fitting because I think he's run that many miles in Disney marathons. I'm not kidding. I think he's pretty close to 188 miles. We'd like to introduce the original SuperLooper, Joe Quattrocchi, who is kind enough to talk to us about running today.
Hey, Joe.
Hey, Tim, Bob, how you guys doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Still, I guess you could say I'm still recovering, I guess, but I'm doing well. First of all, happy belated New Year to you guys.
Oh, same to you.
You too. And
I haven't talked to you guys in a while, so.
Happy wedding to you.
Thank you. I've made it through the first, 6 months, so I guess I'm an experienced husband now, I guess, right?
No.
No, it doesn't work that way.
Tim, you want to tell him?
Learn.
It's fantastic.
Oh, come on.
No, it is.
Marriage is wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful. He has a lovely new wife. He's running. He's in the best shape he's ever been. You know, life can't get any better, can it, Joe?
Oh, she's letting me run, so I guess it's still okay right now. I mean, but, I guess I'll talk to you guys in 6 months. I'll see how it is after that.
I'm sure you're going to be fine. But fine is a relative term, I'm thinking, because I'm thinking you might want to talk to somebody professional, because you just finished the Dopey Challenge down at Walt Disney World.
Yes, I did, and it wasn't as bad as I don't know. It wasn't as bad as I guess you would think it would be, but yes, I did. It was a lot of fun, and I can't wait to tell you guys about it.
Well, that is 48.6 miles of fun.
That is crazy. I don't like to drive that far on an everyday basis.
Well, believe it or not, guys, it was more than 48.6 miles in one aspect. We arrived there Tuesday, not to jump the gun, but we arrived there Tuesday morning. I left Monday night, and I have a Fitbit, so I was recording all of my mileage. So the total mileage, including the races, I logged 122 miles over my time at Walt Disney World. So it was a little more than 48.6. It was 122 over, I guess it'd be 6 days.
Wow.
That is crazy. That's impressive, though. Crazy, but impressive.
I don't think I could do that in a year, let alone 6 days. My gosh.
Wow.
Well, this is a little bit self-serving for me because, as a lot of you know, I'm going to be running in the Expedition Everest 5K. Nowhere near the Dopey Challenge. But how does that is Disney going to send me something prior to the race? Am I going to get a little something in the mail from Disney prior to the race?
You won't get anything in the mail. What you'll do is just keep an eye on your email inbox. They'll send you some pre-race instructions, and essentially it's going to tell you, here's the dates and times of the expo, where the expo is. It's going to give you a link to go ahead and download your race waiver. So when you go to the expo to pick up your race bib and your T-shirt and all that good stuff, you have to hand in your waiver. Essentially signing your life away to Disney. But that's pretty much what you're going to get ahead of time. It's just like an email, and you could also download the official race program ahead of time. And it's going to have the course maps and bus schedules and road closures and pretty much everything that anything in Disney World that the race affects is going to have in there. And any kind of information or questions that you're going to have about the race weekend, it'll pretty much be answered in that in that packet. That's pretty much the email that you're going to get.
Okay, excellent. Now, when is the expo? When can I expect that? Is that the day before the race, or?
I believe there's only the 5K for Expedition Everest weekend. I believe I haven't looked at the schedule, but it's usually open a day, or if it's only the one race, if the race is on Sunday or Saturday, it's usually open a day, or it'll probably be open 2 days before that as well. So you'll have a couple of days to go in and pick up your shirt, your bib. You'll have a chance to buy the New Balance shoes that everybody goes crazy about, the I Did It T-shirts, the pins, any of the other Run Disney merchandise that they come out with for each race. They'll also have the vendors there. Now for the Expedition Everest 5K, I don't know if they're going to have that at Wide World of Sports. I've heard in the past they've had that at maybe Coronado Springs, the convention center. It's at a smaller scale because it's a smaller race, but they'll have different running vendors there, and as well as they'll probably have the speaker series. They'll have Jeff Galloway there, who's the official Run Disney spokesman. They'll have probably Tara Gaitis, who does a lot of the Run Disney dietitian stuff. And they'll have other speakers to talk about other various topics about running. So that's kind of like the gist of what they have at Marathon Weekend, but they'll probably have it on a little bit of a smaller scale for Expedition Everest Weekend. So there'll be plenty to do for you guys to see and walk around and to open wallets, and to buy things. So.
Do they take credit cards?
They do, actually. And just a little hint, if you've got an annual pass or your DVC, I believe they do take the discounts there as well for the official merchandise. So keep that in mind.
That's
if
something.
anybody goes and you're AP holder or DVC owner, they do take the discounts for that as well. So.
Now, do you buy any merchandise at the expo?
I'm sorry?
Have you bought any merchandise at the expo? The special shoes?
Yeah. What I usually do is I will pre-order the pins. So I like to collect pins. I'm not a crazy pin collector, but the events I do run, I will pre-order the pins, the races that I run in. I always at least get one shirt that's not the race shirt. I usually get the I Did It shirt, and I'll get a magnet. This year I did splurge, and I did buy the New Balance shoes.
Oh, okay.
I did get the Goofy shoes, and they're pretty cool. They're very bright. And during Marathon Weekend, you will see a lot of people walking around the parks with those shoes on. So I did splurge and get the shoes. I tried a few times to get them, and I always missed a queue or missed a sign up. So this year I made it my point to sign up in the New Balance virtual queue, which you have to sign up online ahead of time to get a number to buy the shoes because it's that crazy. But I did buy a few. But this year I did buy a few things this year. The one thing I did buy as well that I was really proud of, I actually got before it sold out, is I did get a Run Disney Magic Band, which was the one thing I really wanted to get, and because now they're coming out with these special magic bands, and since I do a lot of Run Disney events, that was the one thing I did want, and I was lucky enough to grab one the first day. So I do open my wallet quite a bit to Run Disney besides the race fees. So I never walk out empty-handed from an expo, that's for sure. I'm
sure. I know that those Goofy running shoes are very popular. My son just loves them, but you can't now. Are those the shoes for 2015? I know they had them for 2014. Or do they have the new ones out yet for 2015?
They did release the new ones, Bob. The Goofy ones, the Sorcerer Mickey, I think they're the Cinderella shoes, and the mini shoes are the 2014 models. The 2015 ones that they released were, I guess you want to say old school. They're essentially just like a plain gray or dark blue with a Steamboat Willie thrown on the back. To me, and I know a lot of the people who I listened to the Mickey Miles podcast, and they were discussing it as well. People were not really, unless that's the style you like, they weren't really very excited about the look of the shoe this year. I wasn't really impressed. And at the price tag, they were about $60 more. They were about $180 for the pair. The 2014 shoes were about $120.
Oh, wow.
So, which are still expensive on both ends, but for the price, I was not impressed at all so hopefully Run Disney maybe will come up with something a little more colorful for next year. But yeah, this year it was not really too, unless you're a big Steamboat Willie fan, I wasn't really too excited about what shoe they came out with.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I'll have to check those out. I know when we were looking at, when we signed up for the race, we came upon that part of the website, and my son was like, I got to get those shoes. I said, well, we'll get them when we're down there, but I guess not.
Just to throw out there, just in case the loopers out there aren't aware of it, if you guys do go down for a Run Disney event and you're interested in trying to get the New Balance shoes, the day the expo opens, I believe it's at 6 a.m. You got to log on to I believe it's www.nbvirtualq.com, and you'll enter your bib number and your name. And if you're not on it by 6 a.m., you might not get a time, but they will essentially, when you log in with your information, it will send you like an email or a text back saying you're in group 2 or 3 and your time is 10:30 to come back, and essentially you request you want the Goofy shoe in a size 10, and essentially they will hold that shoe for you until you get there at the time that they assign. So it's, if you don't sign up for it, there's no chance of just walking up and purchasing it. It just doesn't work that way. So I made that mistake twice, so I'm kind of throwing that information out there so everybody doesn't have that same problem that I had.
That's a good heads up.
Now, I'm guessing, even though everybody's buying these shoes, I'm guessing they're probably not using them for that race they're down there with at that time. You won't want to break in a new pair of shoes, or do people do that?
People do that. It's, if you ask any runner, any serious runner, it's one of the cardinal rules of running not to break is you never run a race in anything that you haven't trained in. Essentially, a race is supposed to be essentially like another training run that that's for real. You're never supposed to wear anything brand new, shirts, shorts, socks, shoes. But there are people that do it, and I mean, God bless them. But for me, I'm very superstitious. I wear the same shoes that I trained in. I wear the same shirt, my race shirts I wear, my race shorts, and so on and so forth. So there are people that do it. I would not recommend it. But I did walk around in the parks with my shoes, but walking and running a marathon are two completely different things. So, but there are people that do it, but I wouldn't suggest that.
Yeah, I know when we had Mike Scopa on, he had mentioned that. He had said, you don't want to run in anything that you haven't run in before. A marathon is not the time to break in anything. So, all right. So let's get on to the race. Let us know, how did this all happen for you?
Are we talking about Dopey, or are we talking about
the Dopey first? Let's talk about, we got the other one coming, but
okay.
The Dopey challenge first, because that one is the one that just blows my mind, that you ran 48.6 miles. But
well, what happened with Dopey was, I was on with you guys last year, and I ran my first marathon last January 2014. And I had some friends from home that were also down at Walt Disney World, and they were in the Dopey challenge. And I could not even conceive that. I was like, how do you run for 4 days? I'm barely going to do a marathon, And when I was down there, I got so caught up in the excitement of everything going on. And I was talking to my friends and tweeting at them and getting text messages, and saw the amount of fun that they were having, and everybody running around with their Dopey shirts on and this and that. I was like, I got to do this. I got to do this Dopey thing next year. And that's essentially how it came about. Once I completed the marathon, I had so much fun. It was such an amazing experience. I knew I was going to do another one. I was like, I got to come down here and do this. I got to come down here and just do all 4 races. And that's pretty much, I made up my mind. And I just, 2 months later, when the signups came out again, I just was on the computer at 12 o'clock and just signed up and mentally prepared to do it. And I did it. I mean, I had run New York City. I'd run a New York City marathon this fall. So I was already in a training mode. So once, I took about a week off after New York in November to keep training for Dopey. I was stacking my runs. I was training my body to, be used to running multiple days back to back. So once I was done training for New York City, I just started stacking my runs during the week and just essentially getting my legs and my body and my fitness ready to, do the 4 days in January. And it's pretty much how, it was just a continuation of my training from the summer. And that's pretty much the story of Dopey. And it went pretty quick, to believe it or not. The time and the week went so fast. Next thing you know, it's Sunday and you're running a marathon.
Wow.
So it goes quick. It was a great experience, though. So
how does this all start? You run, I know you run the marathon and the Goofy challenge. What is the order in which you run these marathons?
Well, the expo starts on Wednesday, so that's the first thing you do. You go to the expo, you're excited, you pick up your packets, you pick up your 2 race bibs. You have a race bib for Thursday and Friday, you have a race bib for Saturday and Sunday. So Thursday, in your first race bib, you do the 5K, which is just an Epcot. Friday is the 10K, which is also just an Epcot. Saturday, you switch to the second bib, and you're running the half marathon. And Sunday, same thing, second bib, you're running the full marathon. That's all 4 parks. Saturday for the half, it's the 2 parks. It's Epcot and the Magic Kingdom. And then within doing the dopey, quote unquote, you're also completing the Goofy challenge as well. So when you're picking up your race shirts and you're getting your medals on Sunday, you're also getting Goofy shirts. You're also getting the Goofy medal as well, which is cool. So after 4 days and 4 theme parks, you get 6 medals in total by the end of the weekend.
Wow. What is the Goofy challenge then?
The Goofy challenge, which is a separate thing, you don't have to do dopey. You could just sign up and just do the Goofy challenge, which this year was its 10th year. So I think there was about 90 something people that were called Perfectly Goofy. They had participated in every Goofy challenge. But the Goofy challenge is running the half marathon on Saturday and running the full marathon on Sunday.
Oh, okay. So those are the actual marathons. You're not doing the 5K or any of that.
Correct. Yeah, that's just the half, the half and the full, right?
Yeah, that's all.
Is that it? Oh,
I'll do that next. I got to be honest, Joe. I am scared to death about this Expedition Everest. It's been very difficult to train here in Northeast Ohio with the weather being so lousy. What am I looking forward to here, or what should I be looking?
What's he need to do? What's he need to do? So I don't need to look for another partner.
which by the way, Joe has already he's already put in for that.
He's on the list.
Put in for, yeah, myself and Fish on Woo, we're going to rotate in and out.
They're like the Secretary of States.
Oh yeah. I mean, essentially, what you got to do is just, you could find a basic 5K plan online. I use Hal Higdon's plans. Hal Higdon has a lot of great plans out there. He even has plans out there for dopey runners and for goofy runners, which is fantastic. But I would just do a basic 5K plan, Bob. Just if the weather is tough, as hard it is, try to get on a treadmill possibly. At least just start out with some basic walking and then just work your way up to a nice jog, and then you're working up to whatever pace you feel comfortable with, or your doctor will let you run at. But
I have paramedics standing by anytime I even walk past a treadmill.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, if it makes Patty feel any better, there are plenty of medics on the Run Disney staff during a race day. So if you have any issues, you'll be fine. You'll be well taken care of. But I'm sure your adrenaline and the atmosphere and everything will carry you through. Like we were talking about before the show, Bob. It makes it not scary, if that's a phrase to use. Run Disney events they're so lighthearted and so fantastic. You have to respect the distance. When we're talking about marathons and half marathons, the distance is still the distance, but they make it's such a great experience, and they make it so much fun. And everybody's just so happy to be there. Everybody paid to be there. Everybody paid to fly or drive there. It's like everybody just wants to have a good time and support each other. And it's a blast. And I think once you finish it, I think you're gonna see why there's such a craze for this, because it's a lot of fun. It's so much different than doing a local 5K in your neighborhood or city. It's a completely different. You're gonna get like 10,000 people doing a 5K. I don't know many places that really have that, so you're gonna love it.
Excellent. Tim, have you noticed when we look at these pictures? Because I've made Tim look at the pictures as well.
He does
of the marathons. Everybody's smiling.
Here's the thing. Now, you and I both know runners at work.
Yeah,
and they have like a special bond.
Yeah,
but it seems like the Run Disney people, there's a special camaraderie in there.
Yeah,
I don't know. Can you talk about that, Joe? Is there just something different about it, or what do you think that is?
Well, I think part of it is besides, like I said before, people you're paying to be there. Number one, I mean, so I mean, people want to have the best experience there, but everybody there is number one is most of the people I say are hardcore Disney fans, and the prices that people are paying to do these races. I mean, you want to get the most out of your races, and everybody is just having a good time. And I guess you could say it could be a camaraderie thing. I mean, you'll see people wearing the race shirts from other race weekends, like, you know, in Disneyland, and you're like, oh, and you'll strike up a conversation with them. There are other podcasts out there that do running teams, and you meet up with people you've never met before, and you're like on the same quote unquote teams, and you're interacting and making friends. And it's sometimes it's hard to explain until you experience it, but it really is like its own like community, its own like it's a great experience. It's kind of hard to describe. I'm a little speechless on this one, but it just is. It's like people are all there for the same reason. They're all there to experience it and have a good time, and, you know, take pictures with the characters, take pictures with each other. I mean, the amount of elite runners that are in these races, there are elite runners, don't get me wrong, but I mean, you'll see more people just out there just having a great time, you know, and just soaking everything in rather than like just concentrating on like, oh, I got to set a PR, I got to run the best race ever. You know, people are just out there just, you know, completing their first marathon or completing their first half marathon or even 10K or 5K. And everybody's just happy, genuinely happy for each other because we're all there for the same reason. We're all there on vacation and having a good time, and just, you know, we're all Disney fans. That's why we're all there doing it. So it's a sense of community. It really is.
Now, let's move on to your the race you ran last year, where you ran the Walt Disney World Marathon and the Disneyland Marathon, right?
Correct. Yes, I ran the Disneyland half marathon, and I ran the Disneyland 10K and the Disneyland 5K, and the 10K and the half marathon, which is held over Labor Day weekend, Disneyland Half Marathon weekend. It's called the Dumbo Double Dare, and it's like another challenge. It's like another dopey challenge or goofy challenge. And if you register for the quote unquote Dumbo Double Dare, you receive a third challenge medal. So you run the 10K on Saturday and the half marathon on Sunday. Now, for me, living in New Jersey, if I'm going to fly all the way across the country to Anaheim, I'm going to run the 5K too while I'm out there. So that was just
oh yeah.
I threw the 5K in there as well as a little warm. So I did like a mini dopey when I was out there. But because I completed a half marathon or marathon in Florida and a half marathon in California that qualifies for the RunDisney Coast to Coast Challenge. And with the Coast to Coast Challenge, you receive an additional medal as well. So as long as you complete a half or full in Florida and a half, because there are no full marathons in California, in the same calendar year, you will receive the Coast to Coast medal, which is the partner statue, which is probably one of the cooler medals I believe that RunDisney has. It's a pretty cool medal.
That's very cool. Yeah, I've seen pictures of that on online. That is an awesome medal. So you have that hanging in your home right now?
I do. I got all the RunDisney medals hanging up. I need to get another hook for it because after the 6 medals I got this past weekend, I'm running out of room.
What's Go ahead, Joe. I'm sorry. Go.
I just I want to say the two experiences, the experiences in California and the RunDisney experiences in Orlando are just vastly different.
That's what I was going to ask you. Yeah.
In my opinion, like I said, experiencing, and I've only experienced Walt Disney World Marathon Weekend. I have not done Tower of Terror, Wine and Dine, Princess Marathon, or Expedition Everest, but the courses are similar. But in my opinion, and I've heard this before said, the 5K and 10Ks in Anaheim, in my opinion, are much better than Walt Disney World. And I believe that the half marathon and the full marathon, I believe, are better in Orlando. The reasons being is the 5K and the 10K in Anaheim are pretty much all inside both parks. I mean, you're getting, out of for example, the 10K, you're getting 5 out of the 6 miles are in both Disney's California Adventure and the Disneyland Park. When you're doing the 10K at Walt Disney World, you're pretty much running 70% of it out on the road and in the parking lot until you hit World Showcase and you hit Yacht and Beach Club and the Boardwalk. So a lot of it is just out on like the road highway. It's just not that exciting. The 5K and 10Ks in Anaheim were much better. Now for the half marathon, For me, it's better in Walt Disney World. In Disneyland, you run a few miles in California Adventure and in Disneyland, but once you exit the parks, you're running about 8 miles out in the city of Anaheim, which when you're out in the city of Anaheim, there are no characters on the streets. They have bands and cheerleaders, and they're great. And you run through Angel Stadium, which is pretty cool. You run through the baseball stadium, but it's just not the same vibe. You almost feel like you lose that Disney feeling when you're running the half or the full marathon in Orlando. You're still on roads, but you're seeing those purple and green signs. You're seeing the hotels as you run by. You're seeing the monorail, running by. So it's a little bit better than just being in a random neighborhood in Anaheim. Even though the people out there, the bands are great, the cheerleaders are great. They have like ethnic dancers. They're fantastic, but it doesn't get that complete Disney feeling as you would get if you were in Orlando. So just that's my opinion. The 5 and 10Ks are better in Anaheim. The half and the full is better in Florida.
Excellent. Yeah. Excellent. Yeah, I was wondering about that. I was wondering what the difference would be. That's awesome. It's very cool that you got to experience both parks and or both sides of the country park wise and enjoy it. Now, give me your impression of Disneyland compared to Walt Disney World.
Okay, I'll be quick. As somebody who grew up going to Disney World, that's all I knew. I'd never been to California. I've been to California. I've never been to Disneyland. It's cool. Disneyland itself is really cool from the fact that it's the place where Walt walked and the place that Walt designed, and it's the original. However, it's nostalgic is the best word I could say. I think some attractions are better in Disneyland. For example, I think Haunted Mansion is better in Disneyland. It's a Small World is better in Disneyland. But there are some things that I think are better in Disney World. Disney World is much bigger. I think it's newer, obviously. However, Disney's California Adventure I think it's fantastic. Essentially, it's every great attraction in Orlando put in one park. Wow. And we actually spent most of our time in DCA over Disneyland, believe it or not. It's just the World of Color was fantastic. Some of the Tower of Terror is great there. So,
what'd you think of Cars Land?
Cars! How can I forget that? My goodness, Cars! And you felt like you're walking down the set of a movie.
Isn't that amazing?
It's honestly, it's probably one of the best themed lands that they've ever designed. The ride was great. I thought it was pretty good. It's like a test track kind of deal. But the land, it looks exactly like the movie. It's probably their best, in my opinion, the best thing they've ever designed ever. So, in short, Disneyland, Disney DCA, great place to visit. Every Disney fan should go. It's easy to walk because it's so close with the Esplanade in between the two. Like you could do so much in such a short amount of time. But I would take the Magic Kingdom and Disney World over Disneyland, and I would take Cars Land and some other things over some of the other things like in Disney World. Like I think some of the lands are better themed over in DCA than I think in Disney World. But Cars Land, if you're a Disney fan and you're a Cars fan, you got to experience it. It's amazing.
Absolutely, and we'll see. We'll see what happens with Walt Disney World, seeing as we are now in the Disney. What did you call it, Tim?
I like to call it the Renaissance.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, you coined that phrase, didn't you?
I did. That was end of last year. Yeah,
copyrighted.
That was quite. It is.
Copyright Tim Scott.
2014.
2014.
Check the dates.
Well, Tim.
Yes.
I think that is all I have for our sneakers on the ground.
Hey.
And good pal of the show, Joe Quattrocchi.
Awesome. Joe, thanks for joining us on the show.
Hey, thanks, guys. Can I just give a quick shout out real quick? If
Absolutely.
You guys don't mind?
This is your show. Go.
I just want to give a quick shout out to a bunch of the podcast communities that were out there. While you're doing these races over 4 days, it's awesome to see the support that's out there. So I just want to give a quick shout out to Mike Scopa, Michelle Scribner-McLean, and Eddie McCoy from the Mickey Miles podcast and Mickey Milers, Mike Rahman and Mike Bankhead from the BOGP podcast team. Lou Mangello was out there with WDW Radio. They were great. They were cheering their butts off, and the Intercot guys were out there. there. I saw them out there every day, cheering. I don't even know those guys, and they were just smiling and cheering and wishing everybody good luck. And finally, just to some of the loopers out there that I've interacted with, it was I got some messages and some tweets, and I want to thank everybody for for their support while I was doing it. It was a lot of fun. I got a lot of comments and stuff like that, saying, "Hey, good job, Joe, you're doing great." So I wanted to thank everybody for publicly for that too. I appreciate it. So
that's great.
Awesome. Yeah, we love all those guys.
Great shows. Yeah. And Tim, if I may this time. Joe, how can people get in touch with you if they want to, or follow you as you run? Sure.
I'm on Twitter at JoeQuatt, JoeQuatt. The same address on Instagram. I'm starting Instagram a little bit more, and then I'm on Facebook as well, Joe Quattrocchi. Just send me a tweet, whatever, and I'll follow you back. And hopefully I'll be posting for my RunDisney stuff. I don't think I'm running anything. Maybe I'll run Wine and Dine this year. Hopefully I can get into that. I have New York City again this year, the New York City Marathon as well. It's a week later. So if I don't get into Wine and Dine, I'm definitely looking at being back for Marathon weekend again next year. So hopefully I'll be posting some more pictures and some more tweets about what's going on down in the world next January. So
yeah, everyone needs to follow Joe. He's just a great guy.
Absolutely.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, our pleasure.
Thank you, Joe.
Everybody, thanks for joining us. This has been a great show. Once again, thanks to Mr. Joe Quattrocchi. I'm Tim Scott. You can find me on Twitter at ResortLoopTim. You can find me on Facebook at Tim ResortLoopScott. And we have the website, resortloop.com.
Oh, how about, do we have a new post office box, Tim?
We do have a new post office.
For snail mailers.
Yeah, for those of you who only have stamps and aren't listening to the show on computers. It's Post Office Box 1510. And that's Massillon, Ohio, 44648.
And don't forget Facebook.com/Resort Loop and rate us on iTunes. Where else can they listen, Tim?
I would listen on the Stitcher.
The Stitcher.
Everybody, thanks for joining us. This has been another episode, 188 of The Gateway to the Magic.
See you, everybody.